Okay, welcome back. 8:29. We're live in Raleigh this morning at the legislature. We are broadcasting from the Daily Planet Cafe on 94.1 WNBU, 103.7 WTIB, and we're videotaping to play back tonight on TV on the Suddenlink Network in Pitt, Beaufort, Martin counties. Good to have everybody with us this morning. And it's also great to have the governor of North Carolina here live with us this morning.
You were videotaping, too, for
yes,
tonight?
Sir. Yes, sir.
That's why that wasn't part of the contract.
Well, we'll add to your pay. I'll buy you another cup of coffee. Michelle Brooks was trying. That's why she was trying to put a pirate pin on you a second ago.
Oh, is that right? I'm just saying. Hey, I got to see the pirate a couple weeks ago. He
baseball.
Was a great guy.
The
actual guy who plays the pirate.
Oh, you saw the
I saw
pirate?
him in Bath.
Oh yeah, that's right. You made a trip to Bath
at the 300th year celebration of the
Seaport, right? Yeah.
And he was pretty cool.
Yeah. No doubt.
So I think of him and Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze.
And, you know, they just announced the time for the East Carolina-NC State game.
Oh, really?
It's going to be noon. So
wow.
We're going to have to get up early and get the governor down to Greenville there for the NC State game.
We'll have to get that date. What's that date?
I think it's the second week. What is it, Michael? Like September 10th, something like that? It's somewhere in that area. It's that second weekend in September.
That's going to be huge. I look forward to it.
Well, thank you
Duke assistant coach at East Carolina.
Yeah.
Playing NC State.
Yeah. Coach Mo. He's a great guy.
Good. Look forward to seeing your new quarterback.
And we got a new chancellor, which you got a chance to meet.
Oh, what a great! You have got a home run in that new chancellor.
Yeah.
He's going to be great.
Dr. Staten, we're very excited. He starts in 2 weeks, so he was up here talking to legislators on Tuesday. Governor McCrory, thank you for getting up and being with us early this morning. We do this every year when the legislative session is winding down and try to find out what's going on and what's happening in Raleigh. So let's have a talk about some of the issues. First of all, I gotta say to you, I'm not sure we've had you on since the bond passed. And, of course, we talked to Secretary Klutz this morning, Senator Berger.
Doesn't she have passion?
She's great.
Oh,
she's
fantastic.
Great. See, so the bond, $2 billion reinvesting into North Carolina's infrastructure. I know that you're very excited about that. And, of course, we're excited in eastern North Carolina because Greenville's got a big piece of it.
It's going to be $90 million for the life science buildings. And if you notice, all the money that we put in the bonds was for stuff we need. Not stuff we actually want.
Right.
Stuff we need and need to have for future education. So it's going toward the sciences, it's going toward medicine, it's going toward engineering, it's going toward IT, because that's where we have a skills gap in North Carolina right now. So, and we have a lot of these buildings, including East Carolina, that are 60s type buildings that are horrible learning condition buildings, not suited for learning, not suited for technology. And if we're going to recruit the best of the best, we got to have good facilities to put them in, especially with science labs, engineering buildings, nursing, and medical. So that's very, very important. And I'm very, very proud of the bonds, and I think it's one of our great accomplishments of a first term. The first bonds in, I think, 15 years in North Carolina since 2000. 201, I think, was the last one.
It was your initiative. You came up with it. I know you had to do some give and take across the street with the legislature, but when all was said and done, it turned out good.
Community colleges, including the one in the Greenville area, will be great. They're getting some good chunk of change. And the state parks. And I'm very pleased. Susan Klutz talked about the state parks, I'm sure.
She
did.
Zoo,
and very pleased with that, and our military.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize, but the governor is responsible for the Guard. And some of our facilities where the Guard were embarrassment for training and for just storing equipment. It was 1940s, 1950s facilities, barracks. It was horrible, horrible condition.
Yeah. Let's talk about the budget, which is being hammered out across the street, and then it'll come to you for your signature. The big thing, of course, we continue to hear about every year over and over again is whether or not North Carolina is going to invest in school teachers. And the truth of the matter is we've got the fastest and largest increases in school teacher pay here in the country in the last 3 years. I know there was some protest here in Raleigh last night, which I love
the headline, teachers protest. It's like 10, 15 people from the union, all coordinated. And they wanted to meet with me. By the way, they gave me like 24 hours notice. We're coming. Walking. I think they were walking 20 miles or something.
They walked from Durham,
a 2-day period.
Right.
Anyway, and then they ended up I called my education advisor, please meet with these people, and they were out in the middle of the road blocking traffic. And I told my education advisor, we don't meet in the middle of the road.
I was reading the article this morning, and it sounded like they were protesting everything but education. They
couldn't
protesting.
bring up education because we're doing such a good job on education. So
Yeah.
you're right. They brought up issues that was on the extreme left website.
Right.
And of course, they get all the cameras and they tie themselves up and they got arrested. And
Which is
this
why
a
I
big group that's endorsing my opponent.
I continue to say, for the hard-working school teachers of the state,
It doesn't represent them at
it's a
all.
disservice to
think,
them.
I think that the everyday teachers who's working their tail off
Yeah.
is not well represented by these people who all of a sudden decide to tie each other up and attach to each other and block traffic during rush hour traffic. It doesn't get you any friends.
I'm on a new cycle now because I've got a grandchild that's in first grade, just graduated first grade, and getting back in the classroom after, of course, it's been years since I've had kids in school, but getting back in the classroom and watching the school teacher, and he had a great school teacher this year, watching her work and looking at her passion and the way she did things. And I know they're not all that good, but there's some great teachers out there.
Groups. The whole teaching method's changed since you were in first grade in the 1920s. It's
Exactly. You're exactly
it's
right.
changed. It's no longer a one-room schoolhouse, fireplace.
They don't use
You don't have
slate
to walk
anymore.
8 miles of school in the snow in eastern North Carolina.
But you said from the beginning this year that your priority in this budget was getting school teachers to an average of $50,000. I mean, that's
and now the legislature might even go beyond that.
Right.
That's not only $50,000 a year. That's going to be plus $15,000 to $16,000 of total compensation.
Right.
$65,000 in total compensation.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize that, and that's when I came to the governor's office 3 years ago. We were 47th, 48th in the nation in teacher pay. Last year we moved down to 41st, and after this we'll be probably in the low 30s. That's tremendous improvement. After 20 years ago, North Carolina was ranked 17, and then under Democrats they went up to 47th. But you wouldn't know that by reading the Raleigh News and Observer. It's as though we're the ones who've denied teacher pay raise or listed Roy Cooper. And just the opposite. We're the ones who are respecting teachers, and I'm very proud of that.
We had this conversation with Senator Berger this morning without conservative talk radio. The truth on these things hardly ever gets out because if you look at any of the media, and of course we don't need to bash any of the media.
I heard the NEA is going to be they just bought a bunch of negative TV ads against me for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So this is all coordinated. I think these protests are coordinated with the negative TV ads, and I'm sure after I see the TV ad, I will decide to vote against me. I mean,
there's already so much misinformation out there. If you take an average school teacher's salary of $50,000 in North Carolina and compare that to the cost of living increase and the difference in what it costs to live in like New York or California.
And that's 10 months, by the way.
What would that $50,000 equate to in those communities?
And by the way, again, our big issue with teaching, and I think right now, is we're having fewer people graduate with teaching degrees, and that's the big issue that we need to have. And another thing in my budget is increasing scholarships for people who want to go into teaching, especially math and science, where we're having a big weakness. So there's a 30% decrease in students going into teaching across the nation, and that's a really big issue we've got to deal with. And a lot of that is the demographics of the last 30 years, because usually women went into teaching, and now women have a lot more choices in the private sector. And that means the competition's tougher for teacher. Plus we have the charter schools, plus we have private schools, and there's a lot of competition for the best of the best. And we think teachers, by the way, ought to have promotional opportunities. Instead of always having to become a principal to get a promotion, we think you should have levels of, if a teacher leader should get as much as a principal at a high school or junior high or middle school.
Are you optimistic about where the teacher pay is going to wind up in this budget? It sounds like the House and the Senate are on board.
Just had a good meeting with Tim DeSport, the Speaker of the House, this morning. He's over back there making some difficult phone calls, I'm sure. He's making deals right now. But I think Tim and Phil are both pretty confident that they're going to give me a very good teacher bill to sign in the budget, and I'm confident about that. I think we're all just trying to work out, The good news is, when Tim became speaker and when Phil and myself all took over at the same time, we're trying to deal with deficits. And now the issues, we're dealing with a surplus. And there are not a lot of states dealing with surpluses.
Right.
But we got to make sure we deal with that surplus the right way, making sure we build up our reserves, making sure we pay teachers, and also instituting mental health is a big issue for me right now, too.
So we're going back to Eastern North Carolina this morning on radio, and of course the Brody School of Medicine is always on our minds down there because medicine is such a huge part of the economy of Eastern North Carolina. But the Brody School of Medicine is the answer to the coming doctor shortage in this state as well.
It's extremely important. Brody and the EC Med School is going to be extremely important as we graduate more doctors. We need more doctors, especially in lower populated regions. Especially as some of the smaller hospitals are also closing down. Listen, I got to also tell, Obamacare is a disaster. Something that Roy Cooper has supported from day one. But right now in the private sector, and we're going to get hit in the government sector soon, but you've got people who are entrepreneurs throughout North Carolina that are paying, their premiums are going up 20, 30, 40%. I mean, it's going to be taking 20 to 30% of someone's salary just to pay for health care. And it's going to get worse next year. And I'm very nervous about those trends right now.
Governor Pat McCrory live with us here in Raleigh. We got a couple minutes left before we bring on Speaker Moore. What else is on your mind right now as we get to the end of the legislative session?
I think the big issues for me right now are mental health and addiction, making sure we get some money based upon the mental health task force that Judge Martin and Secretary Brazier helped head it up, that I started up. Your emergency rooms in the Greenville area and around the entire Eastern North Carolina region are being, the mental health issue and addiction issue is consuming our county jails, our sheriffs, our state prisons, and if we don't get a hold of this problem, we've got a major heroin problem right now in North Carolina, in all parts of North Carolina, including at East Carolina University. And we better deal with this drug and addiction issue. And so that's an issue I bring up in every speech now because it's not an issue, people feel uncomfortable talking about it. It's always someone else that has that problem. And I hate to tell you, you might have it in your family. You may have it I know you got it in your neighborhood, and you have it in your schools.
It's frightening, and it's crossing all socioeconomic barriers.
It's a huge issue for me. Yeah. It doesn't poll well in a political election, but I'm going to keep talking about it, and we've got some good solutions to try to deal with it and have North Carolina be the leader in this area.
Governor, thank you for coming by this morning. I know you made some adjustments to your schedule to be here. You're always kind to visit with us.
You wanted me here like at 5:30 in the morning.
That's not true.
That wasn't going to happen.
That is not true. That is not true.
Speaker Moore is making deals on the budget.
Speaker Moore is looking over here, and he's got a
thumbs up.
He's giving us a thumbs up in one hand. He's got his telephone making deals in the other hand. He's probably in a budget meeting right now. Thank you, Governor. Good to see you, Governor Pat McCrory.
Go Pirates.
All right, let's get a break in. We got you penciled in for the NC State game.
All right. You hear that? I'm pointing to my staff right now.
Greg, make sure he's got a purple shirt. We've given him many, but we never see him wear them anymore. So
that is not true.
Yes, it is.
I've got a lot of purple ties too.
Michelle, make sure the governor gets a purple shirt.
I've got.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to come wearing a purple shirt, and maybe we'd get him a purple and red shirt or something. I don't know if they make those.
Hey, let me tell you, whenever I'm at a game where two competing schools, I root for the home team.
Yeah. That's a smart man. Well, we got we opened with Western Carolina. We have two state schools in a row. We have Western Carolina.
Western Carolina's got the best band, marching band. They've got a marching band that's
Michael's daughter is one of the cheerleaders at Western Carolina.
They're known for their marching band. I mean, it's absolutely.
Michael is still working on trying to get tickets for the whole family.
Michael's got best kept secrets. Western Carolina's marching band. But I love Purple Haze and smoke.
Oh yeah, we're gonna let you come out with the Pirate this year and do the Purple Haze. How about that?
There you go.
I'll talk to the new chancellor about that.
Pretty good luck to your teams, I might add. Yeah. What's that look? What?
I'm remembering a couple of games you came to.
Carolina,
Virginia Tech, a couple of years ago.
I don't think I was at the Virginia.
Yes,
Tech
you were. You were there. You were there.
Oh, I left when you were in the lead. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Governor. Good to see you. 8:44. Let's get a break in. Speaker of the House Tim Moore next. coming up here live at the legislature this morning. We'll be right back.